Welcome to the Unpacking Life podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about the hard questions in life people normally think about in their head but never say out loud. Topics, questions and discussions to help people squeeze the most juice out of life. In today's episode, we've got a special episode. This is going to be a good one. I'm actually excited for this one. We're going to specifically talk about what character traits make a champion. And today's special guest is a former world champion, IBO junior lightweight champion, Jeff Mayweather, and is one of the best, if not the best trainer in boxing, in my opinion, right now. A wealth of experience, is in the habit of being around winners, so he's seen people develop literally from scratch right up to world level. So today we've got Jeff Mayweather. Thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks. What I wanted to get you on here really is, obviously, you've got a wealth of experience in the boxing world. You've been around winners, you've been around world champs, Hall of Famers, everything. Literally, you've been there and you've helped people develop. You was with Floyd in the early parts of his career, and you've seen him to the end of his career, even though he's still doing expeditions and everything now. But you've seen that development process, so you understand very much internally what goes on with fighters. So what's in their heart, what's in their mind, things like that. So from your perspective, what are the typical character traits that you see in world champions? What are the key traits that you see?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to focus. You gotta have focus, and you also have to have, more importantly than anything else, is passion. You have to have passion for what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's almost anything in life. I mean, you're not going to be good at anything that you don't have passion for, because once you find passion, it's not work.
Yeah.
You're not working.
Yeah.
You're doing something that you love. You wake up wanting to do it. And with me as a trainer, I have certain fighters that when I wake up, I feel like, when I'm getting ready to go to the gym, I'm happy because I'm getting ready to be a part of this journey where I have someone that has, all the capabilities of becoming a world champion. And it's my job to help him get there.
Yeah.
And I think, some of the, like you said, the keys to, necessarily being a world champion is, like I said, one of them is focus and passion. But of course, there's also, you got to have skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, don't get me wrong, and that's my job to help you with that, and of course, I mean, having a good coach doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Because one thing about boxing is this: boxing is a sport where there's a lot of guys, people that just show up at boxing gyms, and they'll stay around and they'll watch, and then sometime they'll find someone that walks into the gym that wants a trainer, and they catch that person before anybody else does.
Yeah.
And what they do is they bullshit that fighter.
Yeah.
And the one thing about boxing is a tough sport. You don't need to be trained by somebody that's bullshitting you. Yeah. Because the one thing is this, is that, I mean, you can lose your life in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
And the one thing about boxing is this: boxing is about learning habits. You have a good trainer, you learn good habits that can advance your career and take you to where you need to be. If you got someone bullshitting you, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
Because, well, that person probably don't even know what the hell they're doing, and they're just selling you some bullshit that because you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so basically what ends up happening is someone that probably had potential now don't have potential
Mm.
because they got the wrong person, and the
Yeah.
wrong person bullshitted them.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's sad, but it happens in boxing all the time. I see guys that walk into the gym, never had a fight in their life, don't know shit about boxing, but they find someone that walks into that gym and they grab them first before anybody else does, because a person that has never boxed, when they walk in the gym, they think everybody in there has knowledge of boxing.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's people that's just sitting there waiting
Yeah.
to just have a fighter. So I mean, that happens too.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because I mean, I think boxing trainers, especially trainers like yourself, you play the role of not just a boxing trainer, but you're a mentor, a life mentor, so to speak, because it's like you give so much experience that you're giving, not just in the ring, but also outside of the ring. Like, you're able to spot people like that, whereas someone that's coming into boxing, they're not able to spot people like that, some people. So you're giving
Yeah,
them that
I
as
mean,
well.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I said, I mean, to me, I can spot, a person that has a lot of potential. I mean, of course, becoming a world champion is still, it's something that's extremely special. And sometimes even that person that walked in that I thought had everything still might not make it,
Yeah.
but they have the potential to make it.
Yeah.
And of course, if they're put in there with the right person, I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, boxing is also a business. It's also a business. So it's not just always how good you are. Sometimes it's how good the people backing you are, and how far they can make things, and how far they can go at making things happen for you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, talking from my experience, I mean, when I used to box, one of the reasons why I didn't go professional and didn't go pro is just because I looked at the business aspect, and I didn't have anyone around me business wise that I thought, I'm trusting my life with these people. Like,
Right.
ultimately, like, you are trusting your life, and that is one of the many reasons why I didn't go into it. But I mean, it's such a key, isn't it? And it's but in today's day and age, I don't know whether it was Floyd that made that switch, but like, all of a sudden everyone's focusing on business more than learning the craft now. And you're getting a lot of people that are coming into boxing and they're thinking, like, build my followers, build my Instagram, build my social media, before they're thinking, you know what, become a student of the game. Whereas if you look at, like, the Tysons, when he was coming up, he was just literally watching old school fighters after old school fighters, learning this craft and things like that. And I mean, that's one of the things that I've really noticed, even just looking from a distance, like, because I watched your DVDs. Remember your DVDs that you come out with, and you had your training. I watched them and literally studied them when I was boxing. I learned a lot, and you probably didn't even realize, just from our conversations over Facebook, like, I learned a lot from you just from that. So I can imagine what it would be like for fighters being like with you all the time, training, how much value they're going to get. Because I got a lot, and I implemented a lot in the ring of what you said, certain things, especially with defense, especially with what you said on your DVDs. Like, defense, it made a whole difference over here. Because I mean, in the UK, defense isn't one thing that gets stressed. Like, straight up, like, it isn't. Like, and I mean, you obviously, that, like, it's just different, isn't it? And that brings us on to the next topic. I mean, how do you think the environment changes, someone's heart? Because obviously a lot of world champions, they've come from nothing, haven't they? They've got some form of resilience, something in them that can take the punishment, or they're used to grinding and, putting in the work and biting down when they need to, like, and things like that. It's not a soft sport. You can't play boxing. So, like, you have to have that in them. So what do you think? Do you think that's a trait that you need to have, like resilience, or some kind of, trauma that they've experienced when they was younger, in order to take that into the ring and push through? Or
Oh no, definitely. I mean, And sometimes you see that in, like, take a guy that maybe just came into the gym or been in the gym maybe a week or so. You throw him in the ring and see what he has. Not to see what he has skill wise, to see what he has in his heart.
Yeah.
You know, and if when he gets out that ring and he walks away and never want to box again, he never should have been in the gym in the first place.
Yeah.
But if he steps out of that ring and says, let's do this again.
Yeah.
That's the fighter that I want. That's the one that I want, because I know he's not going to give up on himself. Just like, you know, I always tell fighters, you know, when especially when they first come to me, you know, and basically the statement that I give to them is letting them know that I'm here for you, because I tell them this: you will give up on yourself before I give up on you.
Yeah.
And so basically, you know, but I'm also a realist. I'm not a person that will bullshit anyone. I'm a realist, you know. Basically, if you don't have it, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be doing something else.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to get hurt in here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't tell you not to fight. I'm just telling you from my experience that, you know, but you can still find somebody else to train you or anything like that, because if it's in your heart and it's what you want to do, do it. But I'll be real with you and let you know that I don't think you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I need to see something. You know, I mean, every fighter is not going to be special.
Yeah.
True. Know? And sometimes you have a fighter that's just does things different.
Yeah.
You know, and like I have a fighter like right now that's he's still an amateur. He's a young amateur. And I get excited about working with him because he's a pure athlete.
Yeah.
He can adapt to almost anything. And do we know how to fight yet? No, not really. He's 1-0. First fight, the knockout. But, you know, he's only been in boxing for literally probably about 7 months.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, but he's thirsting for knowledge. He works extremely hard. And most importantly, he's focused. He comes to that gym and he starts training.
Yeah.
And once he starts training, he don't care about nobody else.
Yeah.
He has tunnel vision. And I mean, and that's one thing with fighters, that if you have a fighter that's always, you know, looking around while they're training,
yeah,
they're probably not going nowhere anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Because basically they're too concerned about what somebody else is doing when they should be focusing only on themselves to get better.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So in terms of, like, you know, laser focus and like really focusing on your craft, because that's transferable to like a lot of things, really, life in general. To become an expert in any craft, like, you've got to have that laser focus, haven't you? And I think the saying is, like, to become a professional, you need something like 10,000 hours that you need to put into each craft to, like, become a professional, become a master of that craft. And I mean, boxing is repetition, isn't it? Like he says, building good habits. It's all about building those.
Definitely. That's exactly what it is, you know. And of course, I can't leave this podcast without speaking about Fedor Riley, who's actually over there in the UK.
Yeah.
And he's also one of those fighters that is very special.
Yeah.
And I mean, me and Fedor have a great relationship, and it is not about boxing.
Yeah.
You know, just as a friendship. And that's what I do. I try to create friendships with my fighters as well, because, you know, a lot of times fighters might go through something and and not feel comfortable enough. And me and we talk about almost everything except boxing.
Yeah.
But far as now, when it comes to boxing, he's one of those fighters that when he comes to the U.S., I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to going to work and working with him because I know his potential, and I definitely believe that one day he will be cruiserweight champion of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. He's naturally talented, isn't he? He's a natural athlete.
Yeah.
And he's got some pop in him as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he got pop in both hands.
Yeah, which is a key as well. And then also, I mean, he talking about laser focus. He's got multiple skills and multiple avenues he could go down. But obviously, when he comes to you, he's focused on business, isn't he? He's focused on boxing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a major key.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, especially in today's generation. Once you get kind of like where he's at in terms of, dealing with KSI and also, doing his own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like him can make a living sitting at home.
Yeah.
I mean, this YouTube thing has changed everything. Well, I won't say YouTube, but just social media.
Yeah.
In general. I mean, it has changed a lot of people's life for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, because you don't necessarily have to have, sometimes you don't even have to have a skill, but you got to have something that catches the eye of somebody else out there but the thing is that there's a market for everything.
Yeah.
You just got to tap that market and with social media, that's, and that's kind of like a generation and where he's at. And basically he's a kid that can actually walk away from boxing and still be, set, still doing well for himself.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of like, say with a Vidal, like you've got a Vidal, which is like, he's financially, he's comfortable. Like he's nice. He's like, he's not like an up and coming fighter that's, that's got nothing, no other option, so to speak.
Right.
So another fighter will have no other option and they'll have that hunger in them. What is it? I mean, because I see it a lot in Floyd and I don't know how he does it, but I mean, Floyd's obviously like, he's comfortable, very comfortable, but his training, like I've only seen on YouTube. I've never seen in person, but from what I see is the hardest worker that I've seen. I've never seen anyone like, even just the sparring that he does, like sparring 45 minutes, constant, just changing partners and all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah.
And he's wealthy. What is that inside? What character trait is that inside?
Well, I'll tell you what that is. He started young. And once he started very young. And what became important to him wasn't the money. He loves money, of course, but that comes with it. But what was most important to him is, because Floyd had no choice in what he was going to do. His dad, by the time he was 3 years old, his dad had him boxing.
Yeah.
He was in the gym, pretty much every day. And back when we were back at home, it's so funny now because it's a great story.
Yeah.
That, his dad used to drive the car. This is only when he's like about maybe 8 years old. And his dad's driving the car around the city. His son's chasing that car. It looks like he's chasing that car to, trying to catch up with that car. And everybody thought that, who's this little crazy kid that's doing this?
Yeah.
But the one thing is that, us as family, we saw the growth in him every step of the way.
Yeah.
And by the time he was, I would say, about 11 years old, we would tell anybody and everybody that one day he will be the best fighter to ever be on this planet.
Yeah.
And basically, and it really, everything came to fruition. But the thing is that I think the most important thing is this, is that Floyd didn't think about money.
Yeah.
Money's going to come in.
Yeah.
He thought about being exactly what we said he was going to be.
Yeah.
And that was more important than anything. And that's why he worked so hard, even when he was already a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
He still worked hard, because it was instilled in him. You know?
So he had that. He had that early mentor. His father, his dad was basically his mentor, and then
Right.
So he's pushing him. He's keeping him accountable, and he's kind of showing him the route, because obviously all you guys were professionals.
Right.
So that helps as well massively. But then,
yeah, definitely that helps.
So really, he's second
That
generation.
helps with the part, don't get me wrong. That helps with the part having the knowledge to pass on to someone.
Yeah.
As opposed to pushing someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he saw his dad, he saw me, he saw Roger, so he got a chance to, take in, some knowledge that was worthy.
Yeah, that's it. So in terms of like, all right, and another character trait, being able to have that laser focus. What about when it comes to social settings? Like the people that you have around you, friends, peers, people that are your age. When it comes to things like that, especially within boxing or within any craft, what is it with, like, say, Floyd or a champion or whoever it is that excels? What is it in them that enables them, to stay focused and not get pulled by, friends saying, "Oh, come to this party, come and do this, come and have this drink, come and," peer pressure type of things. So what is it in them?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that the most important thing with something like that is knowing yourself. You got to know yourself and your own limitations. You can't allow anyone to, like, that's just like when I was in high school. When I wasn't even in high school, even when junior high.
Yeah.
I had friends, and everybody that I knew got high.
Yeah.
So of course they were like, here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
And I never will. And until this day, I never got high.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the thing is that at some point, once you make up your mind that I'm not going to do this, I don't care what it is. I mean, the thing is that, like you said, somebody offering you a drink or something like that, and if you don't drink, why would you take a drink?
Yeah.
And that's basically because myself, in my mind, I had told myself that I'm an athlete. And I convinced myself so much that I was an athlete that the things that athletes do, they don't do those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and that stuck with me from the very day that I told myself that I was an athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was my reason, and that was my way of staying away from, things that, my friends may have done or things like that. I mean, because, my mission was different.
Yeah, that's it. So you knew your path, you had laser focus, you knew exactly what you wanted to achieve, right, and you just stuck on that course. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So in terms of like, having that, the build up to a fight, the actual training, like getting into the ring, like if you're sparring 3 times a week, A lot of people that don't box, they don't realize actually just sparring alone, you've got to build yourself up and prepare yourself mentally to step in the ring to spar every time you spar, because essentially you're getting into fight someone like that knows how to fight 3 times a week, whether you're tired, whether you feel like it that day, whether like, do you know what I mean? So a lot of people that box, they don't understand that. And I've seen the benefits of having that, because I used to do exactly the same thing. But going into the business world, like I don't feel fearful of like, you know, speaking in front of a crowd or things like that, because I've been in the ring. I'm in the habit of like, you know, I'm going there to fight someone that's got more experience and skills than me. Like, especially when I was starting out. So when you face that kind of fear, it kind of builds a resilience in you, doesn't it? It kind of builds like a stronger mental capacity to deal with pressure, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, because and it's one of those things where, like I said, the guy who steps out of that ring and says, look, where is he at tomorrow? That's the guy that's gonna, you know, go far, because he has a mentality. And I mean, and that same mentality applies to life, period.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if I'm a garbage man. If I say I'm gonna be the best garbage man, I'll be the best garbage man because I'm gonna be on time and I'm gonna work hard every day.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be the first one done.
Yeah. That's it.
You know, but I mean, you know, but that's the mentality that you gotta have. You know, I mean, to become something special, you have to have tunnel vision. You got to have focus, and most importantly, you have to know that this is what you want. And I'm going to something that's probably funny.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird, but it still makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like I said, you gotta really focus to make sure that you're gonna try to achieve what it is you're going after.
Yeah.
But this is kind of gonna shock you. Me.
Yeah.
Right. I never cared about boxing at all.
Really? No.
Really. What I cared about. But no, but you're gonna understand it when I'm done. What I cared about was my brother Roger. Me and him was like this.
Yeah.
And basically, I followed him around pretty much all my life.
Yeah.
And I followed him. We would go places and do things, and of course, I followed him to the gym every day. Yeah. So he said, "If you're gonna be here," he said, "why don't you just learn how to box?"
Yeah.
And so, and of course, if I chose to do something, even though it wasn't really my choice, it was his choice.
Yeah.
But it was his choice for me to be around him.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you know, this is what I'm doing. So,
yeah,
you know, if you want to be around me, this is what you should be doing too. And
yeah.
That's kind of how it resonated to me. And basically, you know, and so eventually, of course, I start boxing, and most importantly was my mindset wasn't necessary so much boxing. I think my mentality was more about shaming myself.
Yeah.
So I worked extremely hard, you know, just knowing that when I step in that ring, that I got to put my best foot forward.
Yeah.
You know, and while I'm in this gym, I need to pick up as much knowledge as I possibly can moving forward. You know, because I didn't want to embarrass my family, you know, and I definitely didn't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
You know, but in terms of boxing, I never cared about it.
Yeah.
Ever.
See, that's crazy. You know? That's crazy, but I can understand it now that you've explained it, because, I mean, one of the things that we often talk about on this show is that you are the 5 people that you hang around with most. And like he says, like you was hanging around your brother, and because he was doing it, you wanted to do it. And
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I never wanted to
oh,
do
so
it.
you just didn't want, you just literally.
No, it was almost like, well, if you're around me, you might as well do it. And of course, I did so much when me and Roger was like, I'm talking about when we was really young.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stupid stuff together that I wouldn't have done if I wasn't with him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was a time when we actually robbed a sporting store, a sporting goods store. Me and him, and about six or seven other little kids. It's
No
like
way.
Roger was like a mastermind over everybody. And so he said, Jeff, go back and hold that guy. I said, huh? And then everybody else started just taking everything out the store.
No way.
It was crazy. You know, but that was Roger kind of like that way. I mean, he was like one of those people that I would say he was a leader, but he was a bad leader in doing bad things, but still he had a leader's mentality.
Yeah.
And so basically he got everybody to do what he wanted them to do, you know, and of course I'm sure the exact same mentality carried over to boxing for him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but like I said, I mean, it's kind of funny, like when I say a lot of people don't understand when I say I didn't like boxing. I didn't care about boxing, but it became my, I guess, my passion of being around my brother.
Yeah.
So much that, and then, and it makes it even, what's even more funny to me is that here it is, all these years later, I'm still involved.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm still involved is because my passion has always been helping other people.
Yeah.
And basically, I get more satisfaction as a trainer than I ever did as a fighter.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm on somebody else's journey with them.
Yeah.
And I got to help them get to where they're going.
Yeah.
You know? And so, and if I can do that, you know, I mean, I feel like I've done my job.
Now, it's that part of the show where we give a shout out to our sponsors, Agora Pulse. Agora Pulse is a social media management tool that can save you hours, literally. Instead of sifting through all your comments and messages manually through the social media platforms that you use, you can have one hub that enables you to go through your comments and messages all at once and answer everybody back. Also, it gives really great in-depth analytics, which you can use to see what content is getting the most engagement and what content is like performing the best. So then you could just create more of that content. It's really good. And if you want to be able to get a month for free to trial it, all you need to do is go to www.agorapulse.com/unpacking life and you get 1 month for free. Like, it's definitely worth checking out. If you manage social media or you have social media yourself and you always find yourself like, you know, not answering back comments all the time because you get so many, or inboxes or things like that, or even if you just want analytics to make better content, then this is the social media platform for you. Like, you need to be using this because trust me, it just saves you a lot of headache. I've used it for years. Even before this podcast, it saves me a lot of headaches. So definitely worth checking out. That's it.
You know?
And I really saw that when you was with KSI. There was a video that I saw when you was with KSI and you was training him, and you could just tell that you generally enjoy the process. It isn't even like, you know, obviously you did get the win,
right,
but it isn't so much the win that you're like, you know, that's the seal of everything. That's the gift of everything, so to speak. It's the process. And you could tell you like, I know you've got a sense of humor. I see like all the posts, all the comedy stuff. I know your sense of humor. I know you've got that trademark laugh that you drop now and then as well. But like, you can see you generally enjoy the process and your fighters enjoy it and everything like that. But it's like the little bits, like I see when, you know, when you go around, you're talking to fighters and you're doing your YouTube and you're asking people their opinions on who do you think is going to win out of, I don't know, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And like, you go around and you're asking everyone and they're giving their take, but you can see, like, even though someone's giving your take, you can see that you're a person of influence and people look up to you and trust your judgment. Because when you say something, they might say an opinion of, I think Anthony Joshua is going to win. Then you might say, well, what about this? And then you can see you changing their opinion on the literal video. It's like they've told you their opinion, and then you've just said a couple of sentences, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, actually, I don't know." Do you get what I mean? So you have, so people, people.
You know what? Let me tell you something. It's funny is that you said that, right? Because I had a friend of mine who called me and asked me about the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and of course he picked the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. He said, "Oh no, Tom Brady." And then, but I was going for Kansas City.
Yeah.
And so I convinced him by saying, "This is what I told him." I said the quarterback for Kansas City. I said, he's Tom Brady now, as Tom Brady was when Tom Brady was at his best.
Yeah.
I said, that's the reason why I'm picking Kansas City.
Yeah.
He said, oh, yeah, I'm picking Kansas City too. He probably would have beat me up now.
Oh, no. And obviously they lost, so no way. That's crazy. So, but that shows like you've got that power of influence. But influence only comes most of the time. Proper influence like that is when, like, you know, people know that you've got their best intentions normally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, but that happens. I mean, but and I told him, I said, look, I know you're still going with Tampa Bay. He said, no, I'm changing now. I said, okay, but I mean, okay.
Yeah.
It ain't my fault. It's your own fault not being secure with your own judgment.
Yeah. So another point I'd like to bring up as well, like one of the things that I see in fighters a lot of the time, especially during the fight, is the ability to adapt. Like the ability to, like, you know, they have a game plan when they go into the fight, and like someone like Floyd, I mean, he doesn't normally have a game plan, does he? He literally goes in there, sees someone's bad habits, downloads all the information, and by the third round, he's just schooling them. He's just like, he's learned everything.
Yeah. But, I mean, with Floyd, Floyd is one of those very, very special fighters. And the thing is that, like I said, Floyd started so young, so young, that it's almost like by the time he was, I would say 13 or 14 years old, he had a master's degree.
Yeah.
You know, in the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, see, it's different when, you know, these things become second nature.
Yeah.
Because what you guys are seeing with Floyd during his career as a professional, we already saw it.
Yeah.
He's been doing that same thing for 20 years already. Yeah. And so it's almost like, you know, a technician that, you know, that works on something in particular.
Yeah.
When he goes in there, you don't know nothing about it, you know?
Yeah.
But when he goes in there and he takes 2 minutes to fix it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of like Floyd. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, he will go out, and when he starts out, that's what he want to know. He want to know what you're bringing to the table. Yeah. And he'll find out right away. Yeah. And once he finds out what you're doing, he's going to change on you. Yeah. And then when you feel like you're trying to find out what he's doing, yeah, he's going to change on you again. He's like a chameleon. Yeah. You know, and basically he adapts to you, and he changes. Sometimes he changes almost every round. But
Yeah.
when things are working, I
Yeah.
mean, it just worked. I mean, kind of like the one fight in particular, I'll tell you where I seen Floyd do when he changed the most was with Miguel Cotto.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
first
Great fight.
he was boxing Miguel Cotto, and then he was trying to get him with the pull counter, the right hand where he leans back and come back.
Yeah.
That wasn't working.
Yeah.
As soon as that wasn't working, he started hitting Miguel Cotto with the right hook.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he started landing it over and over and over.
Yeah.
You know, and then by the time Cotto tried to figure out that, okay, well, he's hitting me with this, then Floyd started hitting him with the uppercut.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and so I mean,
Yeah.
he has so many ways of actually beating you because he's probably, you know, 7 to 8 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know, by the time you find out what he's doing something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I mean, and you know, and that's what all great fighters do.
Yeah.
Not just him.
Yeah.
You know, but all great fighters make adjustments.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the thing, like even in life, you've got to make adjustments, haven't you? Like things happen, life happens. You could be doing business, you could be like, you know, you could be working for a company and you're the top in your craft. But sometimes like, you know, COVID happens or something like that, and you've got to adjust and you've got to like literally pivot real quick. Like, and it's that ability to look within yourself. But a lot of that, would you say that's down to emotional intelligence, to be able to look at yourself and be honest with yourself, like brutally honest?
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, sometimes you have people that just have that mentality and know how to go from one thing to another.
Yeah.
Without even having to really think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have some people that are kind of like dealing with this COVID. They don't know how to do anything until something happens so bad that they are forced to do something as opposed to knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you have so many people that, you know, unfortunately, you know, have lost so much.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, I can't really say because they wasn't prepared, because no one was prepared for this.
Yeah.
But what happened is that when it did happen, they had no other alternative.
Yeah.
They never had anything else to, you know, say, whoa, I need to do this now.
Yeah.
You know, because it's very difficult to start something when you only knew one thing.
Yeah.
And that one thing now is gone.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and you can't really make those adjustments because you never had to.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? And I mean, it's tough, isn't it? And I mean, it's not until you're forced to make those adjustments where you really have to, that's when people will. And if you was to ask them in comfortable times, like, do you think you could do something? They'd probably say no. Like, they'd probably have that voice in them that would say, no, you can't do that. Like, they probably would. Most people do. They have that inner voice, don't they? But I mean, in the case of like having a winner's mentality and a champion's mentality, they've always got like, you know, everyone, even winners must have that self-doubt now and then, but it's the ability.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the one thing is this. I don't think it's just in boxing, but I think sometimes just in life in general. I mean, we all face things that we believe in ourselves or we doubt ourselves that we can't conquer.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't really even know if we can conquer it. It's just in our mind because we've already planted that negative seed that we can't conquer it.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes once you start trying to do what you're trying to conquer, you realize that it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
This is easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Or or the complete opposite. You
Yeah.
know, wow, this is too much.
Yeah.
You know? And if you have that, and don't get me wrong, and that's a mentality choice. And one thing about life, and this is what I tell everyone. You know, life is about choices.
Mm.
God gives us the ability to choose.
Yeah.
It's so funny because someone was asking me, why do you always laugh and seem like you're having so much fun when you're on YouTube?
Yeah.
I said, because I made a choice to.
Yeah.
I said, anyone can make that choice. I said, no one has to be, I don't care what you're going through. You can be going through, I mean, you could have lost your whole family.
Yeah.
But you're still here.
Yeah.
And it's still your choice. If you want to be sad and you know, and I mean, because that part is going to be with you. And it's always going to be with you. But
Yeah.
if you want to get out of that mood and that mood swing, you gotta do something that makes you feel good about yourself. And
Yeah.
basically, then you're on your way to recovery. You're
Yeah.
on your way to recovery, and then, you know, because one thing I know in life that changed my life was, you know, I had a near-death experience.
Yeah.
You know, it was, and I know exactly what day it happened on. It was when Floyd fought Canelo. I drunk this energy drink.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
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 And I drank that energy drink early in that day, but I still felt okay all the time I was at the fight. After the fight, I was rushed to the hospital. And basically I was close to dying. And you know, and basically the whole time I just kept asking God to give me, you know, second chance.
Yeah.
And that life for me is gonna be different every day.
Yeah.
And in a sense of that I'm never gonna take anything for granted, and I'm always gonna be happy. Always gonna be happy because I made the choice to be happy.
Yeah.
Because you know, because He gave me a second chance to be here.
Yeah. And that's a great thing, man. I mean, I remember when that happened actually, and I remember I was speaking to you around them times. I think I was boxing around them times as well. And I remember when it actually happened, and I must have messaged you and said something and said like, "How you doing?" Whatever, small talk, and then he says like, "What happened?" I was like shocked, but then I remember like there was a recovery period, wasn't there? Because there was like you did. Yeah. I don't think you stepped in the gym for a good while.
No, I wasn't in the gym for a while, and it's funny because when I got out of the hospital, I had lost like about 36 pounds. So when I came in the gym, and I did come in the gym because I just wanted to get out and do something.
Yeah.
But still, and I wasn't one of those people that scared to, you know, because I look like a crackhead. I literally did, you know, and I didn't go there for sympathy or anything.
Yeah.
I went there only because I wanted to see what was going on in the gym. I hadn't been there in so long.
Yeah.
And so when I went into the gym, and I mean, there's even one YouTube that we did while I was sick. And it's funny because most of the comments were about how bad I look with my health.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I still was doing what I love to do. And that was basically, you know, I mean, because when I'm on that YouTube channel, I'm myself.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a character.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm myself, so I'm having fun.
Yeah.
You know, and still, you know, God has blessed me to be here.
Yeah.
Now I'm really gonna have fun
Yeah. Yeah.
because it could have been over.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my mentality, and that's my mentality every day I wake up.
Yeah. And that's a blessing that you have got that second chance, because some people don't get that. I mean,
Right.
and that's a great attitude to have as well. Like, you know, you're gonna live this life, but you're gonna live it happily, and you're gonna do it through helping others. Like, so like, what else can you give? Of course, that's another reason to give you that second chance.
Yeah. I mean, because the one thing is this, I think that, you know, in life, once we find our purpose, that purpose that, you know, God intended us to be, you know, once you find that, you're happy.
Yeah.
You're happy because, you know, and like I said, everything that you do, you know, in terms of like work related or whatever, it's not work.
Yeah.
You're in your purpose right now.
It's true. It's your God-given gifts, the thing that you feel that you're put here to
Exactly. Right.
to actually do. Yeah, it's true. So, all right, let's just quickly touch on that topic. How would you say someone goes about, someone that hasn't found their purpose? Because a lot of the people, like, you know, that normally ask questions for the podcast, they're normally like, you know, how do I find my passion? I don't know what I want to do in life. A lot of the viewers are often like in between the ages of 20 to 30. So they're always wondering like, how do I find my passion? I'm working a job that I can't stand, but I want to do something else. Like, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I mean, I believe that God plants that seed in your mind. And I think every person that actually feels that way in their mind, they know what they want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Their mentality and the risk of trying to do it, you know, is overridden by security. The security that I'm having because I do have this to support me, as opposed to taking a risk to go out there and try to do something that I might be great at and that I feel good about doing.
Yeah.
Might not work out for me.
Yeah.
But when it gets into your head, you need to give it a try. I mean, that's just like even fighters. Fighters that, like, I have a guy right now that's 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start training him in probably a couple weeks. And he said, you think I got a shot at boxing? I said, I'm going to keep it real with you. I said, do this because it's in your heart.
Yeah.
And it's something that you may regret if you never do.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I said, is 30 too late? I said, in most cases, yeah. But I said, but there's always exceptions to the rule. I mean, or there would never be a such thing as a record being broken.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I said, so, I mean, just because you're 30 years old, I said, I'm gonna keep it real with you that most people at 30 years old ain't gonna be no world champion. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I said, because just because you're training with me ain't gonna make you no world champion. And, you know, and generally, I mean, right now, most kids are starting boxing so young because of Floyd. That so the average kid is starting boxing at, let's say, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And if you stepping in there with that same kid that's been, you know, mentality started boxing at 8 years old and you're 30 years old, I mean, you're what, 12? I don't know. But anyway, you're a whole lot of years behind them.
Yeah.
So, and that's what you're facing. Yeah. You know, and so, but I told him, I said, but to get it out your system, you know, I said, yeah, I mean, take a fight.
Yeah.
You know, I said, you never know. I said, you might be that special person that that can excel beyond all everything else. But but the mentality, like I said, the mentality of wanting to do something, it's already in us.
Yeah.
It's in us, and God plants that seed. But sometimes sometimes you have to go through life's ups and downs before you can even find your purpose.
Yeah. It's true.
Because sometimes we have no idea what our purpose is until that light goes off.
Yeah.
And and it's like, oh, this is what I should be doing. But like I said, once that hits you, you got to give it a try.
Yeah.
You got to give it a try. If you fail, you fail, but still, you have to give it a try, because the one thing is this: more times than not, if it's your purpose, you're going to overcome all those shortcomings.
Yeah.
And be in that purpose for the
Yeah.
rest of your life if you choose to.
Yeah. It's true. 100%. And that's great advice. And I mean, it's a tough one for a lot of people because they haven't. So most of the people asking that question haven't lived that long to be in
Right.
that position to, like, they've had life hit them. But it is almost like you need that call to action, isn't it? You need that conflict in your life to, like.
Yeah, I think you need you need the conflict in your life, because the one thing is this: we don't make changes until there's conflict.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and once there's conflict, like you say, and now I need to move on to something better.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just have to know, because and at that moment, believe me, at that moment, when you say, I need to move on to something better, in your mind, you already know what it is.
That's it.
You know what it is. You just have to go after it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So you gave us like plenty of knowledge there, and there's loads to really unravel. I'm sure like loads of people are going to get loads of value from that. There's plenty there. But something I wanted to ask you personally, that I'm just interested to hear your perspective on, is Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Lopez, Tio Lopez. Who do you think is going to emerge like the number one out of them? Who do you think is going to be the dominant force when eventually they do fight?
It's so difficult, but I mean, if someone has a gun to my head, I would pick. It's weird because I trained Devin.
Yeah.
I used to train him. Teofimo, me and him is great. We have a great friendship. Me and Gervonta, every time I see him, he's real nice.
Yeah.
I get along with him. Ryan Garcia, he's been in the gym before, but I never really met him.
Yeah.
But out of those four, I think that Ryan is the weakest link.
Yeah.
Now the other three, I think on any given night, either one can win.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course, I think Tank is the biggest risk because he only need one punch.
Yeah.
He's the biggest risk, but the other thing is this. Teofimo, he has a little bit better boxing skills than Gervonta, and that's one thing with Gervonta that where people overlook his boxing skills. He has boxing skills.
Yeah.
And he does set up those knockout punches sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just happen because he just got raw power.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I think that if somebody put a gun to my head, I would lean slightly, very slightly, to a Tiafimo.
Really?
Yeah. Only because I know he has power as well. He has power, and his boxing skills is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Than Javante's, but like I said, I mean, I think that any one of those guys on any given night, can beat each other.
Yeah.
So, like I said, when I say slightly, I'm saying as slightly as can be.
Yeah.
That one guy can beat the other one. And I mean, and I don't know. And a lot of times when people kind of put me on the spot and say that, I really don't like to pick any one of them, because I mean, I know them all, and I'm have a good relationship with them all, and I know one thing is that no matter what, even if you're just speaking from your heart, sometimes those people that actually are the people that you're talking about, their mentality would change against you because you didn't say their name. But I mean, still, I'm at the end of the day, I'm not one of those people that, okay, I mean, I'm entitled to my opinion.
Of course. So, because some people,
basically,
the sugarcoat some of it.
No, well, the thing is that if I didn't choose you, prove me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
It.
Exactly.
And I mean, and like I said, I just feel that. I mean, he is, I think Devin has amazing boxing skills. And even when I was training him all those years ago, I mean, I'm not surprised about him.
Yeah.
He was also one of those kids that I said that this kid is special. And I said that, one day he's going to be world champion.
Yeah.
And that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know too much about Javante, but he has tremendous power that all he needs is one shot.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that where you can be beating him 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
And the fight can be over. All he needs is that one punch, and all he needs is that last 10 seconds to count you out.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's explosive, isn't he? And I mean, like, I've followed his career from early as well. And Haney's. Haney, I mean, his boxing skills, it just stands out for me, and is the way he sets up punches and the way, like, he keeps his range, and he fights his fight, and he's very disciplined. But he had that father trainer relationship as well, hasn't he? Like, he's had that from very early.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, his dad never trained him.
Oh, didn't he?
I mean, his dad never trained him. His dad never trained nobody.
Get ya.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what they're putting out there.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He never trained anyone.
Get you? No way.
No.
Yeah, because he stepped away from that. Well, they've said that he stepped away from.
Yeah, he said. I know he said he's taking a step back as a trainer, but I mean he's been more of the manager.
Yeah.
I mean, because he brings trainers in. My brothers trained Devin. Kevin Henry's trained Devin.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else they had in there that who also trained them as well. I don't really know, but I mean, the real is that his dad is not a trainer.
Yeah.
Dad is more like his manager.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but he's always had him at least there to, like, keep him accountable and take him places and discipline.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean he's there. He's always there. But I mean, it's so funny when I looked at I don't know if it was Fight Hype or something where it said that he's relinquishing his training duty.
Yeah. That's what I saw. That's the one that I saw, I think. Yeah.
Really? Because I mean, it's so funny because to me it's almost like, well, you're actually taking credit for something you didn't do.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you never trained your son.
Yeah.
And everybody everybody thinks that now, why don't you go out and prove that you're a great trainer then?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, you never trained your son, not one day.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
No,
I mean,
I didn't even know that. That's crazy. It's crazy.
No, I mean, no, he's never trained his son. You know, and I mean, and nothing wrong with you being his manager and picking people to train him, but you shouldn't go out there and just tell a bold-faced lie.
Yeah,
to the whole boxing world.
Yeah,
you know, and especially with people that know that actually know.
Yeah,
that you never did it.
Yeah, that's it. And I would have swayed towards Gervonta Davis out of them. I would have swayed towards him just for the fact he's explosive. He's got that natural raw like power, but I think he leans on that power too much. Like he said, he's got boxing ability because I've seen his sparring footage and I've seen how he can outbox guys weighing more than him, and the taller and they got the reach advantage, all that, and he still outboxes them. But I think he leans on it too much, and the only thing for him is he seems like the one out of the group, out of all them, that could easily be distracted outside the ring. Just looking out from a distance. Like I don't know whether it is that, but you know, where he's got the broners around him, he's got like certain people around him, and it's like they're pulling him in that direction. Whereas I could see, you know, because Floyd was training him at one point and like really hands on with him in the camp. And like when he's with Floyd, he's a different beast. He's a different, like when he's in focus mode and he's in the gym and he's like, you can see he's different. Like he even boxes different, picks his shots different, and he's smarter with it. Whereas when he goes to wherever else he trains, sometimes he's more just like, he just doesn't care. He'll find a way to get to them eventually and get them out of there, but he takes shots that he didn't need to take. Like he could have easily like, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the one thing about being a puncher is that you're always taking risks.
Yeah.
You're always in that same space that where it could be you get knocked out rather than you knocking that person out.
Yeah.
That's why anytime you see a guy with a bunch of knockouts, when he loses, he's going to lose by knockout.
Yeah, it's true, you know. That is true. That's something that you don't often think about. Like, it's true because you got to take them risks, haven't you? You have got to take them risks.
You're in harm's way every time.
But that's great, Jeff. Thanks for that. Like, literally, like, really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you dropping the knowledge on us. Really appreciate like everything, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep spreading the humor. Keep spreading the love. Keep giving the like experience out there. Like I love it, man. And keep playing those tracks as well. See you putting those tracks on rotation. See the amount of new music that I've found, like through following you, like it literally.
I love music, so I mean that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I love music and I love laughter, so I always put a comedian up, or I'll put, you know, or something funny.
Yeah.
A TV show that's funny.
Yeah.
And I put up my music choices.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, man.
That's it, man. Yeah, keep doing it, and hopefully we'll get you on to another one on another topic again soon. But yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
All right. I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.